It got to be so stressful at 40 clients, I thought I was gonna die.
You cannot govern an economy. Economy will govern itself.
Everybody thinks that being an entrepreneur is just the cars and the money and it's so easy. It's f***ing hard.
He sleeps naked. Here comes the story, folks.
Well, thanks for coming in. Really appreciate it. It's an honor to have you both here. And, you know, like I don't get to interview people from Buffalo very often, let alone people that are on the same side as we are and people that are entrepreneurs. So this is going to be a really good discussion. But I just want to dive right in. Like, you know, you both come from different backgrounds, and I know you were a state trooper. You've always been an entrepreneur?
No,
you were a cheerleader. I know that.
That is true. Still out here cheering for myself. But my father was an entrepreneur my whole life. And I never really considered it as something that I wanted to do because I'm a millennial. I come from the go to college, get a degree, and your life's going to be perfect. It's going to be great. And God bless my father because that's what he thought was best for me. He didn't push entrepreneurship because he knew how hard it was and he wanted better for me. So I actually went to school, got a 4-year degree in biology. Could now use it as a piece of toilet paper. I actually don't even know where it is, but it's from Buffalo State University. I have a biology degree.
It's in the basement.
Is it? Yeah, okay, well, at least you know where it is because I don't know where it is. Maybe we can have a bonfire later this week because it wouldn't really matter that much to me. He did the best he could giving me advice, but I went to school, got this degree, and then realized that what I got the degree in wasn't going to translate to actually making money. So I had a couple jobs before we started the business and then ended up doing what my father does,
being an entrepreneur. So when you were going to school, did you do it just because you thought that was the path to go?
Yes.
Or did you think you were going to make a bunch of money because you got a degree?
I wish I would have done the research. I think it's really crazy that we ask 18-year-olds like, hey, what do you want to do with your life? I was such an idiot at 18 years old. I was a liberal when I was 18 years old.
You?
I was, yes.
You don't say.
I was.
We're going to have to go into that.
I was. We'll have to dive into that.
I mean, who isn't a liberal when they're 18 years old?
I guess you're probably right.
Yeah, we're all young and we want to be different than our parents, and I think I was a liberal when I was young too.
Honey, I am shocked. But what do they say? If you're not a liberal when you're young, you have no heart, but if you're not a conservative as an adult, you have no brain. So there's also that. I think we've gotten to the point where we have a brain. But circling back to being that 18-year-old liberal girl going to college, I thought college was going to solve all of my problems. And I was just going to have all this money and have a career. And then when I got to like my second year, I'm like, wait, what am I doing here? I finished it through. I saw it through, and I think nothing became of it.
I think my favorite part is when you said you looked up because you wanted to be a marine biologist.
Of course I wanted to be a marine biologist. I'm an 18-year-old girl.
And I had the same thing in college. You looked up how much a marine biologist
Oh my gosh. At the time it was $17.50 an hour to be a whale researcher, which required a PhD. Okay, wow. So we were gonna do PhD things, but make $17.50 an hour in California.
That's kind of the norm though. Like it almost seems like the more education you get, the less you make in the beginning. It does seem that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's similar for me is I went to college because my father told me to, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to go to college for, and he picked my major for me.
Oh, I love this story.
And it was pre-law. And I was an average student. I mean, we can get into it because I was an affirmative action acceptance to college. I got into every college I applied for, and my class rank was 275 out of 472. But anyways, I wasn't ready for college, let alone pre-law. And I go for pre-law, and my very first semester, I get smacked in the face with what it would be like to get a 4-year degree in law, and I was like, no, this isn't for me. This isn't for me. So
I can't.
I changed my major to criminal justice. And again, that was through my father saying, well, if you don't want to be a lawyer, at least be a police officer. And I never knew what I wanted to be. And turns out I actually did want to be a police officer. So I went through college and actually transferred to UB, and they didn't have a criminal justice major. So I just picked sociology. I don't know why.
What is that? I probably should know,
I
but
still don't even know what sociology is.
sociology, like what?
It's like a social worker.
So you do what with that?
I have no idea.
I have to
See, we
become a
were all
social
idiots.
worker. I don't even know what that
That's just
means.
Literally, I was just like, well, what's close to criminal justice? And my advisor at the time said sociology. I was like, oh, is that like psychology? And they were like, well, it's similar to psychology. I was like, oh yeah, well, I like psychology, so I'll do
Oh my
sociology.
God. So nobody knows what's going on.
Exactly.
Literally nobody.
So my father tells me to take the state police exam. I take the state police exam. I do well, and I get invited to the academy during my senior year of college, and I'm like, well, I have to finish my degree. I can't accept this right now. And I did the same thing. I looked up what a sociology major makes, and at the time it was like $17 an hour. It was like, no, it's not. It was 1997, so it was like $25,000 a year, and the state police was hiring at $42,000 a year. I was like, all right, I'm gonna be a trooper. And I just fell into that career. I ended up loving it, but when you're young, it's so hard, especially without a mentor, to lead you in that right direction of where to head to.
So getting into law enforcement, being a state trooper, like what were the things that you loved about it?
Not writing tickets.
No.
I'll tell you that. You wanted to get pulled over by this guy.
No, because
Because you had to be an asshole for him to write you. He got so pumped, like, hey, this guy was really shitty to me. I'm going to go write him a ticket. When he was on the phone with me, and he'd hang up and go write him. But if you were nice, he'd call and be like, these ladies went to Toronto they're going there for their bachelorette. And I can't ruin that for them. I just told them to slow down and I let them go. He was not a great road trooper.
No.
I mean, didn't you have like quotas to meet?
Oh,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to.
But by
you're not
that,
supposed to say that. Shh.
you're
Not supposed to say that. There's no quotas.
Everyone knows there's quotas. And there's averages, and you don't want to be at the bottom. So, but by the time we were dating, I was actually on the SWAT team for 12 years, and I love.
Because the road wasn't for you.
If I could go back, I'd see the movie Bad Boys.
Oh yeah.
I'd want to pull up in the Lamborghini to work, get my SWAT gear on, and go.
He would
and
go
go
back
hit
right
houses
now.
again. That's exactly what I would want to do.
Well, it's
right
because
now.
what you thrived at, you were actually getting people who were bad people.
Yes.
I think that's what changed it for him when he joined the SWAT team, was that these were actually bad people that needed to be taken off the streets. Where
Yeah,
if
I
you're
never had to
pulling
feel
over
bad.
Margaret with her girlfriends, like, she's going to her bachelorette, she's speeding, we speed all the time. They're not bad people, they're just human.
Yeah.
And that's where your heart got the best of you on the job. But
Oh, yeah.
on SWAT, you were like, these guys they're
Yeah, I
done.
never had to feel bad
bad.
about who I arrested when we did those drug arrests or barricades. It was. I miss it, and I miss the camaraderie. I miss the guys, because you work with the same 10 guys every single day, and you're in the worst situations, from chasing after fugitives to doing drug raids to
He was on the Bucky Phillips detail.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Back when
I
Bucky
remember
was
that.
out there
And the same
running
thing
wild.
with the Dannemora, the escape
Oh, you were
prisoners.
so
and-
pissed about. He was so mad about that. These fucking guys, I'm trudging through the woods, getting bit by mosquitoes. Fuck these guys. But you got him.
that was what I miss most about the job, is the camaraderie.
Yeah.
Because they were really brothers, and you could see I wasn't in the military, but I would imagine that the unit that I was in, the West team of the State Police Special Operations Response Team, was like being in a military unit. We had losses, talk about that at a different time, but we had victories, we had great times, we had bad times, but you literally grow up together. And after 12 years working with the same guys, you watch each other have families, you hang out together, and that's what I miss most about the state police. The road thing, it was cool.
You had
get
good
close with
friends
yours.
there, though.
No, I had
too.
good friends too.
You just
yeah.
didn't love writing good people tickets.
Yes.
Or writing
And-
people tickets for shit that you did every
Right.
day.
But did you hear how he just came alive? Like he's talking
Oh, I
about the
know,
road crew,
I
and I
know.
couldn't get off that topic
Yeah.
fast enough. And then he's talking about like
I
the
agree.
camaraderie and the guys and the bond.
Yeah.
And like, I want you to
Yeah.
just keep going on that. Like, why did it end?
All good things must come to an end, Chris.
I realized that.
I mean, we had started the business together, and it was
What year? I'm sorry. What year did you guys start 95 Nutrition?
2015.
He's the time guy.
Yeah.
And what was your first location?
A church
First location,
basement.
Technically, our first location.
Was it really?
Yeah, the basement of a church on Grand Island.
Technically, it was your house.
Well, that was like where our
Technically,
first customer
yes.
came from.
Yes.
But the majority, like when we got up and rolling, we found a church that we rented their little kitchen in their basement.
St. Martin's Church.
St.
in
Martin's
Grand
Church,
Island.
yeah.
Yep.
God bless, guys.
Oh,
You
we're going
helped
to
us
get into
out.
the more of the origins of 95 Nutrition. But so you started the business together.
Yep.
You were really happy in your role and your job and what you were doing.
Yes.
Continue on from there.
So I'm not going to say that we even started the business together.
He gave me the idea.
I gave her the idea.
Oh, Larissa tells me she gives me every idea.
Hey, she's a good support system.
is. She's
He
great.
gave me the idea.
Yeah.
He's like, you love to cook. Why don't, like, I was preparing meals for him to go to work with because he worked a 12-hour day. So I would prepare multiple meals. And his coworkers would say, like, where did you get this food
Yeah.
from? He's like, it sounds weird. My girlfriend
Yeah.
cooked it for me. They're like, man, we would pay for that. And he came home and he said, people will pay for this. I said, no way, because I cook breakfast, lunch, dinner. I just love to cook. I love to grocery shop. I love everything about homemaking. Like, I should have probably been a stay-at-home mom. I just love everything about taking care of my family. Well, reality is most people don't cook. So immediately when he was like, well, you can do these prepared foods and people will pay for them, I said, no way. Every woman cooks. Everybody cooks. Nobody's going to buy this. He said, trust me. So we started.
Yeah.
And
then-
for the first week that we had this idea, we're sitting at the kitchen counter and we're trying to come up with a name and we're arguing. We're like, if we can't even come up with a name, then how are we going to start a business? And he came up with 95 Nutrition.
Yeah. Well, basically, it's most people, when they come to think about getting healthy and losing weight, the first place they think is the gym.
Absolutely.
But even if you spend an hour of your day at the gym every single day, it's only 5% of your day. But the most important part is the other 95% of your day. What do you put in your body? How much sleep you're getting? What you're listening to? The people you surround yourself with? And that's where the 95 Nutrition came from. And I said, well, we're going to be focused on the other 95% of the day. So how about 95 Nutrition? So that ended up sticking. And so I was really there. Honestly, the only thing I really did in the beginning for this business was after I got home from work, she would still be making meals, especially when we started taking off. She's at the church kitchen. She's cooking hundreds of meals all by herself.
I wanted to die.
Yeah.
I wanted to die.
And
So it scaled pretty quick.
It did.
it
We
did,
went
yeah.
from one customer, and my breaking point was 40 customers because
Yeah.
I had to share the church kitchen space with other people. So AA would come in at night, and obviously to be respectful for the people that were there for AA, I couldn't be like cooking and listening to their conversations. Not that I would judge, but it was just, I had to leave.
Yeah,
So I had to get it all done like in a 8-hour window. I had to go get the groceries, cook the groceries, prep the groceries, get them in the plating containers, get everything loaded up and get it out of there by the time AA got there. And it got to be so stressful at 40 clients. I thought I was going to die, literally. Like I would leave and want to cry. I did cry a couple
Yeah, a
times.
couple times. Yeah, so I was basically the dishwasher. I would come
would
at
get
the
off of
end,
his shift.
and I would just,
Yeah.
I would get there and I'd see how tired she was. And we'd still have all these meals that we had to load up. Then we had to bring them to our house and put them in a freezer to freeze.
Because there was no storage
Because
at
there was
this
no
kitchen.
storage.
40
at the
meals in a
facility.
freezer.
No. 40
No,
people that
40
are
people.
getting 10 to 15 to 25 meals.
yeah.
Most of them were getting 25
It
at
was
a time
almost-
because people had it like that.
It was 1,000 meals. that we would load into. We had chest freezers all over our
Wait,
basement.
you just changed the whole visual of that. So we went 40 customers was like 1,000 meals.
And I was doing it
And you're doing this yourself?
all day. I did not stop from the time I woke
my
up
God.
to the time he got there to do the dishes. And I'll do you one better. Where we were living, we were renting, and it was a flight of stairs up.
Yes.
To the house. There was no other way to
was
get
no
into our
other-
house.
there was no
It was on a
driveway
hill,
up.
a flight of stairs. So you had to park at the bottom and go up the flight of stairs, and then you'd get into the house. And we kept all of the freezers for our customers in the basement. So it was a flight up, a right turn, another right turn, down a flight of stairs into the basement. So every single one of these
Out of the
1,000
boxes
meals
into these chest freezers.
had to be carried up a flight of stairs, down a flight of stairs. Then you'd have to go back out to the car, up a flight of stairs. At one point I said, this is not even worth it. I can't actually physically do this anymore. But for whatever reason, I just kept doing it.
Hold that. Everyone listening to this, I want you to just put yourself in that. Just think of 1,000 of anything, right? It's a lot. Imagine prepping 1,000 meals yourself. You had to go get the groceries, you had to prep them, you had to box them up or whatever you call it. And then when you were all done making them, you got to take them from one facility upstairs into your apartment where you got chest freezers, load them up. Are you understanding the entrepreneurial journey?
I'll do you one better.
Everybody thinks that being an entrepreneur is just the cars and the money and it's so easy. Fuck that. It's fucking hard.
Yeah.
Keep going.
And we did it at times in the snow. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
blustery
I forgot
Buffalo
we're in
weather,
Buffalo, New
up
York.
and down the stairs. And I think that when we got into the game and we started, like, after all of this, it was, oh my, and I don't even want to bring up when we delivered, I would sometimes get done cooking at like midnight, 12:30 in the morning. And by the time we got the meals loaded into the freezers, it was 1 o'clock in the morning. Then we'd have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to deliver the food.
Yeah.
Because we were getting so busy that the days were just blurring together.
So we offered delivery. So we'd have to put the orders together, take them out of the chest freezer, put them into boxes,
Then deliver them.
then deliver
It was-
them,
It
then
was
come
insane.
back from the delivery because people could pick up our house after 11 a.m. at our apartment, and we'd have to have put those together. It was not efficient. But
No, I was
what
efficient
we-
as fuck.
It was
I was
for what we
working
had
all
to do.
day, baby,
For
all
what-
day long.
For what we had to do.
I needed
And,
help. And we
yeah.
figured that out.
Where was the breaking
eventually.
point?
Oh, there was.
It was the
there
12:30
40
a.m.
customers.
to 4 a.m. wake ups that I was like, okay, like we need to scale. I can't, because this was supposed to be cute. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was supposed to be like, oh, look at Lindsey doing her little entrepreneurial stuff. And all of a sudden it became not cute, which is great because we had, oh God, do we say it?
What?
Of course
About
you
our
say.
$60,000 in a shoebox?
I mean, yeah. At the time, everything
Just
was
let it
cash.
Well, hold on. Can I share on that? I have to interject because I started my first company in '94.
Yeah.
Okay, it was in the Lockport Mall, and every Christmas, that was like when it rained, we would take all. It's past. I had two registers.
Come for me.
We took all the cash from the one register. I would literally take it to my mom's. This is a ritual thing. I did it on Saturdays. Take all this cash in these little zip-up bags, and I would give it to my mom, and we would put it in the safe, and we wouldn't look at it. And then come January 15th, there was like clockwork, New Year, everything. There was this magic day. I went to my mom's, and we would open the safe, and we would count all the money, and now continue.
Did you count it by hand though? Because we
did
counted it by hand.
Counted it by hand.
penny of it.
At one point-
It was probably the most
I know what you're
magical
thinking about.
thing
Yes.
of being an entrepreneur.
Yes.
It wasn't even about the money. It was just that moment where you're like, this is my
Yes.
hard
Yes.
work.
And you counted
Nobody
every single
helped do
bill
this.
yourself.
It was magical.
At one point, I said, I can't count this anymore. I bought a scale. And I started weighing money. I was
They
weighing
didn't
money.
have those money counters back then? You went with a scale?
Well, I mean, we were too cheap.
Yeah,
we never had money. Like,
Yeah,
contrary to
that's
popular
true, too.
belief, everybody thinks like, oh, Lindsey
I thought a
Cruz
money counter
came
was
from
like,
money.
I'm not spending $500 on a money. I didn't know a money counter was like less
Because
than
we never had
$100.
to count any money. We never
Yeah.
had any money.
And I was like, this is taking too long. Let's
I'm
just weigh
tearing
it.
up.
But we ended up hand counting it because the weighing did not work. We used one of the scales I was using to weigh.
Yeah,
Did you literally you would like take a stack of bills
Yes.
and you'd weigh it
Yes.
and be like, oh, this is
He
100?
knows this is
It was a gram of
$200.
bill.
So
It was a
God,
grand
I'm
bill.
starting to think like what is it, Goodfellas and all
You're
those
gonna-
things
you're gonna
where they have
start
money
up
counters
the-
and you're doing this?
I'm going to
Cruz
start
is our
the
drug
drug
dealers
dealers
thing.
talking again. Because that's how Pablo Escobar,
That's literally
how he counted his money.
Is it really?
Yes.
I did not know
really.
that.
Yeah, he moved
Oh
away
my
his
god,
money.
that's funny. But that was nothing will ever. It doesn't matter how many millions you make. Nothing will ever feel as amazing as those beginning days where you
Never.
went from literally we were flat broke.
Yeah.
We started the business with $500. It was our first grocery order. We had nothing. I had nothing. I had a BMW
That you
350i
shouldn't have.
that I should have never bought because I made $20 an hour at the time, which was a lot, but I had no business having a car like that. So it was the first money that we actually made, and we're like, wow, this could maybe be something. So it went from being cute to being like, whoa, almost overnight.
Yeah. I mean,
It felt like overnight, but it
a
all blurred together.
feeling, and I'll put it in the terms of when we got the M4. It was the first nice car that I ever had.
Mm-hmm.
We had a BMW M4.
What year?
It was 2016. We drove to Pittsburgh for it. It was signal green, and
He cried.
I cried.
He cried.
That's awesome.
It was the first time in my life that I actually believed that you get what you work for.
That's
And
powerful.
I sat there and I that drive there, I was so excited, but seeing it in person, realizing that was our car, was just like, I kept saying, that's our car.
When you saw
all.
they had the little red sold sticker on it. It wasn't
Yeah.
even like a great reveal. We just walked into a BMW dealership and it had little sold. And he's like, that's ours. That's the car we bought.
And at that point, it was like a revelation that it is true. You get what you work for. You get what you take the risks for. You get what you gamble on. When you gamble on yourselves, you win. That's the feeling that you get for it. And I'm telling you to this day, and I don't care if we put a Bugatti in our driveway next year. It will never feel like that feeling of being in that dealership that first time and picking up that car and realizing for the first time, because now you know that it really comes down to the risks that you take and the work that you put into it and the faith that you have in your vision. And when you realize that the first time, everything else is expected. You're almost met with disappointment from, you're like, okay, well, now we have a Lamborghini in the driveway. It doesn't feel the same because you know that there's an equation to it. Risk, hard work, puts what you want in your life. And once you discover it,
No, that is really.
once you
I feel
discover
like you.
it,
I feel every word you're saying,
Yeah.
and I know that feeling.
It's like the first time you make it
It's-
like, whoa. look
For
at
any of
this.
you listening, if you're like on the verge of making that leap into entrepreneurship, you've got this idea, your worthy idea in your mind, and you think about it every day and you dream about it and you draw pictures of your business. This feeling they just described, that car and how he explained that feeling, it's real, folks. If you don't feel that at least once in your life, you haven't lived. Just leap.
True.
and all you need to do is feel it once to unlock
It's contagious.
the rest of your life, because it's kind of like, I would assume, being addicted to drugs, that you chase after that
Wouldn't know.
high for the rest of your life. You're chasing after that feeling of what it was like when you first realized, I can do whatever I set my mind to. And then you
This
just
is
set your
really
mind higher and higher, but it'll never feel like the first time you realized it.
Carmelo, I got to ask you, how many times have people asked you, when's enough enough?
It's never enough.
Absolutely the right answer.
It's never enough.
It never will be.
not. It's not, because the minute that you give up chasing that feeling is the minute that you start dying. you can't get to here and say, this is good enough. I mean, maybe some people can, but if you stop saying to yourself, okay, I reached here, I need to reach here, you can't just run in place. You're going to, it's like the road to success is not a road. It's an escalator.
It's an obstacle course.
Well, it's an obstacle, but
feel.
it's an escalator, and it's an escalator going down, and you're going up it. So you're running up that escalator that's going down, and the minute you take a rest, you start going down the escalator.
You're an 80s kid that had escalators in a mall.
Me too.
Kids nowadays can't even relate to that.
It's true. You can't coast, because if you coast, you're going backwards. And it's always about getting to the next level. And to get to the next level, you got to work harder. You got to take more risks. You got to build a better team. Whatever it is, you have to have the vision to get to the next level. You have to have a mentor who's been to that level. Because honestly, with the business now, we want to get to 100 million. We want to take this business to as far as we can. And I'm just a freaking kid who grew up on welfare, was a trooper, thought I was successful because I was a trooper, built a successful business. I don't know how to build a $100 million business, but there are people who do.
Just got to find somebody that has done it.
Yes. And I can meet that person. We can meet that person that can tell us, well, why are you doing it this way? It's better if you take this route to help you get
we've
there.
already gotten that.
And it's a journey. And whenever you set the journey to cruise control, there is no cruise control.
I like
You're
that.
going backwards.
Cruise control.
Yes.
There you go.
You're going
Little
backwards.
Little plug.
So Lindsey,
Yeah.
The journey, the obstacle course, you hit 40 customers.
Mm-hmm.
You were at a breaking point. How did you take that to the empire you built today? Like, what happened?
I decided I needed to hire help. I couldn't do it all on my own, and I wasn't going to refuse customers, right? They were flocking. This was like
How were you getting the word out?
word of mouth. When you
Wow.
take care of your customers, they take care of you. And I still stand by that to this
Beautiful.
day. We have thousands of 5-star reviews, and I appreciate every single one of them because that customer took the time out of their day to leave the company a review because of the experience that they had. And during COVID and shortly after, we thrived because I told our employees, I know we're wearing masks. I know we're behind this plastic thing. God, it all gives me PTSD to even think about. But we're following all of the protocol. You still need to engage the customer. You still need to make sure they have a good experience. Yes, keep your distance. At the time, we thought 6 feet was like a thing. We did all of that, but we still provided customer service. Whereas I feel like a lot of companies during COVID used it as an excuse to either eliminate their customer service department or just to not take care of the customer at all.
100%.
And we doubled down on customer service. We said, we're still going to provide that experience because you could spend your money anywhere. People work very hard for the money they have, especially middle-class America works the hardest for the money that they have, and they could spend it anywhere. So every single time a customer comes into our locations, I'm honored that you chose to come here and spend your money. And I want to make sure that it's the best possible experience for you. And that has carried us to where we are today. I have the trolls on the internet always asking, oh, how do they do what they do? Are they drug dealers? Are they, laundering money? No, we take care of our customers and we run a great business and we provide our employees excellent benefits, and it shows. I mean, to me, that's the most logical answer. I see all the time online, oh, they treat their employees like shit. Really? Then we wouldn't have employees.
Yeah.
So you get out what you put in life. And we put in a lot of love and a lot of care. I always say to my husband when we have meetings, I say, you know what our Achilles heel is? We care too much. We lead too much with our heart in business. And a lot of times it's lost us money. It's led us astray. We could be more successful, but in certain circumstances, we lead with our heart. And to this day, we still struggle to say maybe we should lead with that, business mentality, but our heart always wins.
Yeah.
And I get that a lot from him. I think he balances me out a lot. As much as you are the
I think
man, you have the bigger heart. when it comes to business, and you
Yeah.
lead a lot with it.
I don't think it's necessarily that. I think what I've learned from you, since you worked under your father for so long and watched him build a business, is a lot different than the way that, especially when it comes to customer service, because as a trooper, your customer service is...
Here's your ticket.
Here's your ticket. See you later.
See ya.
And, you know, the way that she takes care of the customer and the way that she cares is something that, you know, that's the one thing that I'll stay away from is the customer service.
Oh God, don't have him answer. He'll be like, here,
yeah.
you do it.
Because I honestly, you know, I'm not built for that. I'm like, that's what you're complaining about?
Well, I learned that from my dad. Like, he always said, that's my name on the business. And that's our name. That's our family's name. And you have to take that seriously. And if I have an employee that treats my customer like shit, at the end of the day, that's on me.
It is.
Even though it's the employee, it's still my business. It's still my name, our name on 95 Nutrition. And I take that to heart because I want to be a good person. I want to be known as a good person. And it's accountability. It's your roof.
Right.
But that's such a testament to success is owning that, because there's so many businesses, you know, this, or they pass everything off. Everything's someone else's problem.
No,
but
it's
you're just
always
owning it.
our problem.
And you're right. It's your name.
100% always our
No
problem.
one cares more than you.
And that's when it comes to, I guess, the caring side is that for her, for me too, but more for her, because I think it's that female part where it's her baby. The business is really her baby. And for me, I'm like, it's business is business. Mm-hmm. She's like, this is my baby. And these customers that come in are also part of my baby. And when she has to see that an employee gave a negative experience to a customer, it really affects her deeply. And me, I think, strictly from a business standpoint. And I'm like, okay, do you know how much it would cost us to replace that employee? Can we coach them to provide a better experience the next time? As opposed to her saying, this person, this employee disrespected me. We've taught them the proper things and the right way to treat our customers. And she takes it personally. And me, I'm like, well, logically, how can we teach them to do better? So that's where we are yin and yang when it comes to the business. Is I look at the numbers. I'm like, well, it's going to cost us this much every single time we have to replace an employee for providing a negative experience. And she's like, yes, but we can't repair the damage that employee did to not only that customer, but every person that customer is going to tell.
Oh, because you know the people that get the bad experience talk 10 times louder than anyone who
Always.
gets a positive
I mean,
experience.
that's life in general. Complainers tell everyone.
Well, now you have complainers that have never bought anything from your business.
Oh, yeah.
Just because your political views,
Yes.
now all of a sudden you literally.
I do
Me
love
and
that
Larissa
for
have
them.
seen them. We're like,
Yes.
this person never
It's
even
never been-
shopped
no.
at your
Wild.
store.
Yes.
It is
It's
a wild
crazy.
time to be alive, my friends. Holy cow.
Yeah. And to dislike someone based on political views and politics is like, I really feel like what the government wants is for you
Put your
not to
tinfoil
be,
hats on, everybody.
is to listen to the people that say, don't talk politics.
Because they don't want you talking. They don't
What-
want you talking amongst
Suppression.
yourselves and trying to figure it out for yourselves. They want you to think what they think. We're going to feed you the narrative and you're going to listen.
Leave the
Pandemic was the test
Absolutely.
for that.
Oh, that killed me. I hated that time. And it's not much better now.
But also, you hated that time, but that was a real catapult for the business too. So it's almost a love-hate. Because think about it, right? Without the pandemic, like, and I'll be the other one, like the pandemic forced me to go
Yes.
online, forced me to do webinars,
Sure.
forced me to go, to social media, which catapulted me.
Yeah.
I hated every moment of it. I fought every bit of it. I had my entire family saying, you got to get the vaccination. I'm like, absolutely not. everything was a fight, but it also made us who we are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially as business owners in a time where other businesses were force vaccinating their employees. And we said, what, that is completely un-American for a business to say, we're going to force our employees to get a vaccination.
Oh, we straight up released a memo that said,
we won't
do that. And if you want to wear a mask, we're fine
Go
with
ahead.
that. You
Yep.
don't have to wear a mask.
Good thing, because there's plenty of lawsuits right now for companies that did force
Really?
people to get the shots.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, lots of lawsuits out there.
You can only imagine. But at that time, there were companies that were forcing their employees to
Oh, I remember.
vaccinate.
We didn't even make them wear masks.
No.
We actually got 1-star reviews. Your
Yes.
employee wasn't wearing a mask. That's their prerogative. I am not here to step on their freedoms. If they don't want to wear a mask,
And
they
now
don't have to wear a
states
mask.
are like outlawing masks. Isn't it funny how
Yeah.
this whole
Yeah.
thing just comes full circle? I don't want to lose it to the pandemic here with this conversation, but the thing I want to take out of it is we hated it. It was so un-American. It was just an awful period of time, but also a period of time that allowed us to rise up.
Yes.
You know, and I think the way to say that is it's that point, the darkest times are when you get to raise the torch and you get to say, I'm going to be the leader. I'm going to go through the darkness. Follow me. And they did.
Yes.
And I remember that's when my wife started following you on social media. And you know, my wife follows nobody.
Neither do I.
Nobody.
My brother's like, you don't even
Responds
follow
to
me.
nobody. She did. My wife does. Only time she responds on my posts is she's like, "You spelled that wrong." I'm like, "Damn it!" It's the only time. But she
So your
loved.
wife would be like me. She calls me the fact checker.
Oh my,
Okay,
yes,
fact checker.
exactly like you. Like if I spell something wrong, within 30 seconds of the post going up, I'm notified, and then I got to let James know. James, you spelled it wrong. It's hilarious, but it's a testament because she saw the realness of you, and I know that's the biggest reason because
thank
she
you,
constantly
Larissa.
tried getting me to
Thank
watch
you.
her stuff. I'm like, I don't know, what am I watching? And she's just like kept going. She's like, she's real. She's telling the truth. And then I started watching, and you know the rest is history. But
I will say one thing, and it's going to sound biased because I'm obviously her husband, but she inspires me all the time. Who she is on social media, who she is when she speaks her mind, is who she is in real life.
Well, don't go on social media to find out who I am, because everybody will tell you I'm a big asshole.
Yeah, and well, I mean, if you want to twist it that way, go
the
go
truth
ahead.
hurts. That's how I twist it.
But exactly, she says what she feels, but you know how she feels, and it's never with hate.
No,
It's
never.
always-
Actually, you're right. Never.
It's always with love, even to employees, to whoever is coming at her. It's always with love, and to watch the way that she is on social media is to know her how she is in our personal life. She has a huge heart.
And a big mouth.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
But she is an amazing woman. She's a leader, and she's my biggest supporter. And what can I ask for more out of a woman, out of my wife, is to support my visions and to support what I want, but at the same time, be willing to say, I have things that I want too, and that I support her on as well. And we align politically. It wouldn't work if we didn't.
I
Yeah,
don't know
I
how
agree.
couples live together if they
It's really
don't.
hard if you don't. But who you see is who she really is. And anyone who comes at her says that she's heartless or whatever only because we're Republicans, so we must be heartless, so she must be heartless, is completely wrong because she has a huge heart. She
Thank you.
takes care of our family. She takes care of 35 chickens.
I know, and they are beautiful
I
chickens.
just love my chickens. I want to thank Joe Biden and his administration for for getting me into chickens. Because if I didn't think this world was going to go to shit, then I wouldn't have gotten these chickens. But like now I'm borderline like bunker. We're about to build a bunker, baby. I thought I was going to build a $5 million house. I might build a $5 million bunker. Okay? The priorities have changed very quickly here in America, and I'm willing to roll with the punches. I have children to protect. I have this country to, that's my duty. I think ever since our car almost got stolen, I mean,
we do have to tell that story. I know we're short on time, but it has to be told. It was I had to have watched
Can
your
I tell
video.
them,
the only thing
Carm?
I asked
Yes,
is I'm
you
like,
can tell them.
Can I tell them?
Fine.
I was thinking when watching that, I'm like, I would have went out there and I would have shot a bullet into the thing. But I know that's not the thing to do, and you know the rules.
Right.
But that's what I would have done.
That's literally what she was screaming
Okay.
at me. Get your gun, get your gun. I was like, I can't shoot them.
You did. I remember that.
So I just want to say, for every loser out there who thinks that we staged this for
people
for
do not
political,
think
Lindsey
that.
staged this because she wants to run for office and wants attention out of her, or Lindsey staged this because she's an attention seeker. I promise you, I don't need any more attention than I already get. And this story is going to prove to you, because this is the first release on this story. This story is going to prove to you that we did not, in fact, make this up for attention. At 2:30 in the morning, we leave our keys in our car. I'm not ashamed of that. You're not going to shame me into believing that not locking my doors and keeping my keys in my car is something to be shameful of and that I deserved it. If I have a sign on my house that says, this house right here has $1 million in it, you don't have the right to come here and take it. So let's just preface with that. But at 2:30 in the morning, we're sound asleep, all snuggly on a cold February morning, and all of a sudden you hear, "Rah!" and it's a cold start.
Yeah.
We almost might need some sound effects to talk about
Yeah.
what that
The roar
engine
was
sounds
it.
like.
It's
It literally, it was a
Especially
cold
in the
February
winter,
night.
full of
Modified
choke.
exhaust.
It rattled our windows, and I shoot up out of bed. I said, honey, that's the car. And he's like, huh? I'm like, the car. And he goes, the car. He sleeps naked. Here comes the story, folks. Here comes the story.
And I'm like,
I don't sleep naked.
I'm like running, like, do I
He's
put
like,
shorts
left,
on?
left,
Do it?
right,
Like,
left,
no, I
right.
gotta get to that.
He's like a
I'm
darting
running down the
squirrel.
stairs. I'm completely freaking naked. No shirt. No,
I'm dressed.
Nothing.
I'm fine.
Butt ass naked.
He's darting like a
running
squirrel.
down the stairs. I'm like, I can't go out there naked.
So I hit the garage door opener.
and it's like,
and we're like,
and I'm
waiting for the
putting
garage
my
to open.
jacket on,
so this guy
my
is
North Face.
dick out with a North Face jacket zipped up while we're waiting for the garage door to open, okay? And he comes flying out there, fucking
And I go,
dick
and
slinging, no pants on.
And I go to open the door because it's completely frosted over the car. You can't see it. And immediately when I go to pull the door open, what plays back in my head was her saying, "Get your gun." And I'm like,
This is where I
fuck,
die.
this is where I die. I should have fucking listened to her. I said, I can't shoot them. They're for stealing my car. But now I'm about to open a car door to a car full of people with guns, and this is where I die. So I opened the door, I looked, and there's nobody in
All
it.
we got was a plume of weed smoke.
Yeah.
Wait, so not only were they stealing your car, they were smoking a blunt?
Oh,
They
yeah.
must have been smoking in their getaway vehicle.
Yeah,
They had this
yeah.
whole thing planned out. There was a getaway vehicle when we watched
Yeah.
the cameras back. They had it all set up. So as soon as they realized, you could see him like pressing the brake and the brake lights going on, they couldn't figure out how to get it in reverse. Thank you, God.
If you're going to steal a Lamborghini, don't you think you'd YouTube how to put it in drive? Or
They went
reverse?
home that night and said, how to put a Lamborghini in the reverse.
So she made an Instagram video to show
To troll them. Fuck them. So anyway, they got away with the key fob and like a Fendi bag, shopping bag out of the back of the Rolls Royce.
There was indeed no Fendi in that, though.
There
So
was
they
not.
went in multiple cars.
They went in multiple. We don't lock anything.
I
We're
know,
from
but now we
Grand
do.
Island.
Now we do. Don't come back. Don't come back.
Yeah.
We're all
More
locked
times
up.
And
than
you
not.
will get shot next time, right?
Yes.
So, but you were law enforcement. So you physically, if somebody's on your property stealing your car, you can't shoot them.
Only if they come into your house.
So invite them in for some coffee and cappuccino.
But
Like,
they
come
didn't
on
want,
in, guys. Like, the keys are inside.
They didn't want
And
coffee
the instructions to
cappuccino.
put it
They
in
just wanted
reverse.
the cars.
Wow.
And the funny thing about all of that too is
Even in Texas, you can't.
No, you can.
Florida?
I don't,
Stand
Florida?
your ground in Florida.
Just trying
you
to
could shoot 'em.
check and make sure that's
it's
just a
because
New
we're
York
in New
thing.
York.
I
It's a
knew-
New York
I
thing.
don't want.
Okay,
It's
all
a
right,
New York thing.
I
We'll
don't
go
want
beyond that.
to put out fake news out there.
Yeah, no fake news.
Fake news.
So I don't know what it is in Florida. I think stand
We'll
your
fact check
ground
that.
only applies if you're.
Folks, we're going to put a
direct-
disclaimer as to whether or not Florida
don't
or
go shooting
Texas,
people.
you're allowed to shoot somebody when they're stealing your car.
Yeah, I think it's stand your ground means if you're directly threatened. Was it Altinho
Threatening me, you're coming after my
You
car.
were naked. People were in your car.
So yeah, I
call
just
that a
want
threat.
that to be known that my husband was out there butt ass naked with a puffer North Face on.
Yeah.
I could send the camera footage if you want to check that, but I'm pretty sure if we were staging this, he wouldn't have ran out there naked.
No.
He slept with clothes on for a good 2 months after
Oh,
that.
I know. I still sleep with clothes on. Can't give him any ideas.
But that event spun off into you getting news press and all sorts of stuff. Like it really.
So I think that's something that I don't want to say it bothers me, but it upsets me that the Buffalo News made us out to be like, oh, this wealthy couple from Grand Island. How dare they try and steal our Lamborghini? We demand personal protection. And where I
Yeah.
was coming from is this is ridiculous. I've lived here for 35 years. There's never been a crime issue. What is spiking crime? And the more research I did, the more I found that I had no idea. I'm just over here in Grand Island, New York, enjoying my life. Cars are getting stolen everywhere.
my
in New York.
neighborhood had record theft of cars.
It's out of control. And it made me realize, like, guess what? If they would have stole our Rolls Royce and our Lambo Urus,
Yeah, our insurance would have replaced it.
our
immediately.
insurance would have replaced it. And guess what? I still had 3 other cars that I could have went to work with that day. I'm good. I could also pay to have private security or a gate put at my house just to prevent this. Fine, I'm good. But what about the people who aren't good? What about the single mom whose Kia got stolen last night, and now she not only can't get her daughter or son to school, she can't get to work, so she misses a whole day's worth of pay. This is what I was saying is, what about the people who don't have it like we have it, as some people would say? What about them? Who's standing up for them? They're not going to cover Carrie, whose Kia got stolen. They're going to cover Lindsey with the bright red hair in her Lamborghini. So I was trying to put it out there like, hey, we got to do something about this as a community, as a state. We've got to do better. And it got twisted and misconstrued and
Only by the Buffalo News.
Absolutely.
Correct.
Because your
Now-
social media, your Instagram was perfectly executed.
Yes.
yes.
And
But-
she did an interview with Channel 2, WGRZ, and Channel 4, WKBW. No, I think that's Channel 7. No, that's WABC. But anyway, she did an interview with Channel 2 and Channel 4, and we specifically said, don't mention the make of the car because it's just going to trigger people. It's going to make them pissed off. And they didn't. They didn't mention the
made it
make of the
strictly
car.
about-
They made it about the petition that she filed and wanted people to sign to end bail reform in New York State, which is the biggest reason why all this is happening. And it was positively received. We had a great first week of trying to turn around this overwhelming tide of thousands of vehicles being stolen in Western New York. And then the Buffalo News came, and again, when they were in here and they were being so nice to her, and she's just like, just don't mention the name of the vehicle, blah, blah, blah. And I just said to her, hey, the Buffalo News is really liberal. Just
So many people told me that.
Be careful about what you say to them. They are the only news outlet that reported the name of the vehicle, what the vehicle was. They did not even put a link to the petition on the article. So you tell me that wasn't just made to make us look bad.
Well, it was.
It had
Luckily,
nothing to do. If the Buffalo News cared about its readers, especially in the city of Buffalo,
Where it's
where
rampant.
it's named
It's
after,
rampant.
and the theft is, they would have put this petition in their article, but they didn't put the petition in their article. They made it seem like all we cared about was our vehicle, and we didn't even report it to the police. I'm a retired state trooper, and I said, you know what's going to happen? Nothing.
We're going to waste
We're
the police
going to
officer's
waste their time, you know, blah, blah, blah. They couldn't put it in reverse. It is what it is. And to be honest with you, I didn't even want her to start this. I said, don't even bother. Don't put it on social media. Who cares? They didn't get our car.
That
nothing.
is
but
what
she
broke
felt
me.
the need to do it for other people. And that's what pisses me off is when people say that she doesn't care. Like, actually, I didn't fucking care. I didn't. I was the man there, and I said, you know what? It didn't get stolen. No big deal.
Leave it alone.
No one's going to appreciate the work that you put in, so just forget it. And a lot of people did appreciate it, but the way that the Buffalo News spun it, they made her out to be an asshole.
Isn't that funny? What is the bail reform? Like, what is that?
I mean, it's something that didn't exist when I was a trooper. It was just starting to be talked about, and that is for nonviolent felonies, nonviolent offenses, misdemeanors, felonies, whatever.
Including felonies.
Including felonies, that judges could no longer take bail. So we had to issue appearance tickets for nonviolent offenses. So it could be a felony, but as long as it wasn't a violent felony, they were back out on the street the same day. So someone
Immediately.
could immediately steal the car, bring them back, process them, issue them an appearance ticket. They don't spend any time in jail, and they're right back out, free to do whatever it is that's frightening. That they just committed, whatever crime. And that's not just stolen cars. I'm talking about theft, retail theft. Retail theft is out of control. I mean, you've seen it in California.
Yeah.
It's in New York City.
Oregon, New York City.
Where they just go in and wipe a store out of inventory.
We went to Home Depot to buy a couple things for the yard, and we had to literally walk around like with a sales associate, like we were at a Gucci store. Could you grab this? Could you grab that? Could you?
Wow.
Because
All
of
under lock
bail
and key.
reform. And it used to be shoplifting. You arrest someone for shoplifting, and as a police officer, it was my initial judgment whether I wanted to release this person, whether I felt that they would show up to answer their charges in court, where they would receive their penalty. That was taken away from me. It was taken away from judges, because typically I would say, well, this person has several warrants on their record for failure to appear in court to answer for their crimes, so I am going to bring them before a judge, and a judge is going to say, based on these warrants, we're going to remand this person to prison. Well, not prison, jail. There's a difference between jail and prison. Anything over a year is prison. It's anything less than a year is jail. So that was taken away. So you have people with warrants that committed crimes that you're releasing back out to commit more crimes, and then they start seeing that they're not ever going to face punishment for what they do. So it just gets worse and worse and worse. And now we're seeing the height of it when outlets like TikTok and Instagram
are showing you how to steal
cars.
showing you
how to steal
to do it.
cars, and then telling you there's no punishment for it. What do you think kids are going to do? Unguided kids, they're going to be bad. They're going to test the limits. And that's exactly what's happening. And this needs to change, not just in New York, but all around the country. We need to get back to
law and order,
order, and teaching our youth that you will be punished when you do something that you're not supposed to do.
You used to fear your dad more than you'd fear the law, and now you fear neither of them. I think the biggest eye-opener for me, though, as we segue off of the topic, is me with my bail reform petition. I thought I was going to go in there, and so many people made fun of me, and God bless them, because they were right.
They really were making fun of you.
They were like, oh, what is this, 1776? You're going to start a petition? And I truly believed, like, hey, I can make a change. And then I started approaching local officials in office, and they were like, oh, we don't want to touch this with a 10-foot pole. I'm sorry, Lindsey, we can't help you. And I'm like, but you're the Republican assemblyman for Grand Island. Why won't you help me with this? You know it's right. You know what? If I stand for this, we could lose funding to our district because Kathy Hochul will. it is so intertwined and it's more fucked up than you will ever know. And I've only gotten like the tip of my toe in the water. And I'm like, wow, this will keep you up at night to know how intertwined these people are and how they all parrot the person who's in charge and don't really stand for what the people or what the community needs because they just need to preserve their job. And
And get another reelection.
That's something that I've been passionate about. He will not let me run for office, but it's something that I feel passionate about as I get older. When the kids are older, it's not fair to them to put them through this. I can handle some troll calling me a transgender freak with too much filler and Botox. I can handle that. I know who I am as a person. I don't need your opinion and it doesn't affect me. But my children, I don't want to put them through that. I think that would be pretty selfish while they're young and impressionable, and people have no filter. So they don't respect children like
They don't have no filter because nobody punches anyone in the face.
Yeah,
That's
there's no accountability.
Bring back bullying because that kind of worked.
No, literally, when you would say something negative about someone, the only way you could do it back then, there was no social media, was to their face.
Fights were like, that was a proving ground.
And
That was a leveling
exactly.
ground.
And we fought. If you said something disrespectful to me, we're fighting for it. And that eliminated a lot of trolls from saying shit that they shouldn't be saying because they knew they were going to get punched in the face for it.
But back then, they couldn't just hide behind a computer. Like
Exactly.
you'd say it to someone's face, and hey, if the person didn't like it, you got punched in the face.
And that's an issue with social media, and something that we face every day is that back in the day, you used to have to be somebody to have an opinion. You used to have friends and family who trusted you and would listen to you, or else you were nobody and nobody cared about your opinion. But now you can create 10 different fake Reddit accounts and talk all the shit that you want on social media under a disguise.
Yeah.
Nobody knows who
Anonymous.
you are. So cowardly.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
and even now with social media is you can create an echo chamber. You can make 1% of the population feel like they are the majority.
the algorithm can do that.
Yeah, because they all get together. They block anyone who has an opinion that has nothing to do with them. The algorithm feeds them their people. They only represent a small percentage of the population, but it seems to us like we shouldn't voice our opinions because they are going to cancel us. When in reality, they're a small percentage of the population and they're just loud. Mm-hmm. And the more that we realize that we can stand up for our beliefs and all get together and say, hey, there's more of us than there's more of them. We're just quieter than they are. We need to stop being quiet.
Than they are.
We're busier than they are.
We're busy
we have
raising
more responsibilities.
kids, growing our business, helping other people, donating our time to charities.
But the one thing I'll give to them is that they're supportive of one another. And if more people supported us, if more people supported each other with the same opinions, the way that 1% supports each other, the more that 1% would look like 1%, the more that we would look like we're the majority. But instead, we're just like, I don't want to get canceled today, so I'm not going to.
I don't want to get canceled today, like it's on the menu.
I'm not going to repost. I'm not going to comment. I'm not going to share.
I mean, I show you my DMs, Chris, look like a priest confessional. And I will never out any of you. I promise this is a safe space. You can come here to talk to me anytime you want. But Lindsey, I'm a huge supporter of Donald Trump, and thank you for what you're doing. And I'm like, get out here, come with me.
Yeah,
and
Niagara Falls Boulevard.
I can't. My family and I only feel at home on your page, and I get it. Yeah. But the more people that speak up, I'm happy to hear your confessions because it
there
makes
has been a little
not,
bit of an awakening.
There
I've
has.
seen it. It's
agree.
good.
There
It's
has.
not enough, but it's good. It's happening.
And we just need to stop thinking like it's right versus wrong at this point. And that's what I have to sometimes really, you do it too.
No.
It's think no. You are right. This is correct. A woman is a woman. Yeah. A man is a man. These are fundamentals of life. These are facts, and you're not going to tell me any different. And sometimes you have to really hype yourself up and talk yourself through those talking points because the noise is so loud.
Yeah.
But I don't want to lose this country. I love our priest. Our pastor the other day, he choked up at the end of his whole sermon, and he's like, I just love this country. And I was like,
You know?
Well, as we approach the end of this, let's get into one final topic that I really want to hit on.
Ooh.
There's no question we're in troubled times. We're in dangerous times.
Yeah.
We're staring down the barrel of World War III right now with
Oh, yeah.
Iran and Israel.
Yep.
We've got just the most unbelievable political environment happening right now. Just
Yeah.
I can't even believe what I see every single day. But one thing that both of you have done really well, and I commend you for this because very few entrepreneurs can do this, is your business is expanding and growing, but you see what could potentially be in the future. Actually, you see what will happen, which is things are going to get a lot worse before they get better.
Yeah.
And because of that, you have taken action and actually paused on some business opportunities that are very near and dear to you. I need to talk about that because there's so many people that push into that. They push into it, they do it because they feel, oh, I got to do this, and that's it. But you see something. Well, clearly you're pretty much front line seeing this. But let's just talk a little bit about if we can hit on the restaurant, your future growth of 95 Nutrition, and some of the things that you are doing in preparation to be ready for the worst.
Well, first of all, it's been a tough year emotionally
for everyone.
Because under, a different administration.
You can say it under the Trump administration.
We were, I don't want to get your channel canceled.
Good, get it canceled. I'll start
Baby,
another
I
one.
could use a vacation.
TikTok keeps canceling me every time I go on. So.
We were thriving.
Yeah.
It was the best year, just location after location, because contrary to popular belief, when you give an entrepreneur a tax break, they don't spend it on a big screen TV or a Lamborghini. They spend it on reinvesting back into their business to create more locations, to create more jobs for local people. And in turn, yeah, you might end up with a Lamborghini, but it starts with reinvesting into your business. And we were thriving. We had 5-year goals, 10-year goals. I remember putting this thing up on my wall. I said, $10 million, $833,000 something dollars a month. And I had it all broken down. And at the moment that I put it up on that wall, I believed we were going to be there in the next year. And then all of a sudden this happened. And I was like, fuck. Whoa. The growth just screeched to a halt. And we're sitting here looking like, okay, well, we had hopes of we went to Rochester. I'm proud of us.
Yeah.
We were like, we're going to hit Rochester, Syracuse, then we're going to go to Albany, and then we're going to go to New York City, baby, and we're going to make it rain. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is kind of scary. I don't like it out here.
Yeah, and it's not, I mean, I'm the numbers guy, so I can say that it's not as bad as you're
you
making
thrive
it out
off of that
to
high,
be.
but we're not expanding because we're holding back because
Right.
that looks scary. That's a big
Yes.
dark cloud, and I don't like that. Whereas before it was smooth sailing, I could
Yeah.
see the horizon. We were full speed ahead, and then all of a sudden it got spooky, real quick.
No, I mean, for me personally, again, doing the financials,
I'm the dramatic one,
yes.
if you
It
couldn't tell.
is-
I'm bracing right now because I'm so stressed.
Yeah, but at the same time, I look at the future and I say, okay, if we continue in the direction that we're going, there has to be a market correction. And I look from economically, I don't care what the Dow Jones is doing. I don't care what the NASDAQ is doing. All that does is measure how the greatest, largest companies in this country are doing right now.
7 of them.
Yeah. And you know why they're doing so well? It's because of the current administration. And that current administration is the one that says that those companies should have thrived under Trump. But they've thrived under Biden. The rich get richer under Democratic policies. What I look at is consumer credit debt. And consumer credit debt is going up and up
Record
and up.
levels.
The average American.
Yes. And
Because they can't afford to live the lifestyle that they got
Yeah,
accustomed
exactly.
to during
And
different
I-
times.
I don't look at the business that we were doing even right after COVID, because that business is tainted. We were doing very well. We didn't do well during COVID. Obviously, we did do well during COVID. But after COVID,
Amazon,
we had,
Walmart,
yes,
Target.
Yes, you're right.
Big business.
Yes, big
Not small
businesses
business.
did well. after COVID, we had a rebound, but I was looking at that and I said, you know what? There's a moratorium on rents.
That just got lifted.
Yeah.
2023,
Smart
right?
to see
November?
that. Yep.
November,
So
yeah.
people were foregoing paying rent because it was subsidized by the
And
government.
student loans.
And student
Oh, I
loans.
forgot
goes
about the
out.
student loans, yeah.
Yep. And we were living in a fake economy.
Fantasy world.
A propped up fake economy. And I just said, if this administration wins another 4 years, watching the consumer credit debt go up, because it's not going down.
Yeah.
You don't even have to pay your student loans. You don't have to pay your rent. People were using their rent to go out and
They were getting the
party.
extra $600 in New York and not paying their rent.
Yes.
The not paying your rent was supposed to be like on your honor. Like if you can't pay the rent, then you don't have to pay the rent. But
But eventually you have to. And the government's like, okay, we'll make these landlords whole again, and you have to pay rent again, and you have to pay student loans again, as much as Biden said he was going to promise to forgive student loan debt, whatever.
unconstitutional.
We were going to hit reality. And when we hit reality, consumer credit debt
It was
went
a
up.
straight line up.
Because
Yeah.
they were like,
We've covered that.
how can I afford my life that I was living? I need to put it on credit cards.
We've seen a lot of jet skis go up for sale near us.
But that's the reality is now the consumer is going to be forced to make a decision. Do I pay my credit cards? Do I get rid of things? Do I pull back on spending? So us as a company, me as the one financially responsible for the company says, I don't want to build any more locations right now because I really feel like that consumer credit debt is going to get to a point where consumers have no money left and the economy is going to take a tank, and I am preparing for the future. So for the first time ever, this first year ever, we are not going to build
Any
new
retail
any new
locations.
locations.
But that's smart. We have been living with a three-legged stool that only one leg is holding the whole thing up, and that
Yep.
leg
Mm-hmm.
is employment numbers, and we
Yep.
are losing those numbers. The job reports come out, and then they're revised, and nobody pays attention to the
No.
revisions. We are, and the unemployment numbers now finally
Mm-hmm.
are ticking up, and you're seeing the truth. And now you're seeing that the government is creating 80+% of those
Yep.
jobs. Like
Yes.
that
That are
is
unnecessary.
You ever watch the movie, the Barbie movie? My wife forced me to go to the
I
theater
would
and
never.
watch
I
it.
couldn't do it.
Good. Probably
do
good
it.
you didn't, but I did. That's the world we're living in. You did?
No, you're saying, but I did. I couldn't
Well,
watch
Larissa
it.
dragged me there to see it. But that world that they portrayed in that Barbie movie is the world we actually are living in. It
Now I
isn't
gotta watch it,
real.
just 'cause
it
you're
isn't
making the
real at
reference.
all. Oh, you should but you got to watch it through a lens of looking at it like, wow,
This is
that's
lunacy.
the world
Yeah.
we actually are living in, and people are literally playing this game because it is a game, and everybody's going to lose. And that's exactly so. You holding
Well, not
back,
everybody's
pumping the
gonna
brakes.
lose.
Not everybody, but
The
well,
average American will
the average
lose.
American's
And
going
that's
to
who
lose.
we're consistently fighting for. And that's where I want to set the record straight for anybody who, I love how people will believe anonymous reports of who we are, insignificant people who have no idea who we are talking about us and saying the things that they say. I always say, if you either love me or you hate me.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know me, then you probably hate me. If you know me, then you love me, right? Because that's just who we are as people. And that's where I want to set the record straight, is that we care about the average American. We don't forget where we came from. He grew up on welfare. I grew up in a very middle-class family. And we understand the ebbs and flows of economics. And we've done our research, and it's scary out there in America. And that's the biggest reason why I'm a diehard Trump supporter, and I won't back down from that. and
Well,
I
he's
don't-
going to protect the middle class.
I don't care if you cancel me. Well,
The middle class is
I don't.
the middle class
a
is taking the
vacation.
biggest hit.
Yep.
And that
But
breaks,
aren't
that
they the
breaks
ones
my
that
heart.
aren't they the ones that they're trying to protect? I thought the middle class was who
Absolutely
they're
not.
always trying to.
How are you protecting the middle class? First of all, wage mandates don't work. You cannot regulate an economy with government.
No.
It doesn't work. You cannot govern an economy. The economy will govern itself.
Absolutely. Austrian
So-
economics is really the best path. We'll never get there again,
Right.
I don't think.
What's the minimum wage in New York
Well-
right now? Just for an example.
For
For
our
us.
state, It's
for us in our
$15 an
region,
hour.
$15 an hour. We could not get a human being, an actual human being, to show up right now for $15 an
we
hour.
can't.
I believe
we,
it.
we
can't.
literally cannot.
No.
It is $17 and up minimum just to get a warm body that maybe can say hello to a customer.
Yeah, but when you put these minimum wage increases and you increase by more than inflation, because minimum wage has increased by more than inflation during this time, and what happens to the middle class? So the person that was
Squeezes it out.
making $11 an hour is now making $17 an hour. That's our nurses. 7, 8 years ago were making $18 an hour.
They were.
I remember.
Literally.
Oh, I
And that was a good
and-
rate
and
of
now-
pay.
And now they're like, well, the guy working at Mighty
Wendy's.
Taco is making $18 an hour.
We just outed
How
ourselves
do
for
I-
our favorite fast food.
How do I survive on $18 an hour? Okay, so they get raised to $25 an hour.
But they don't
And-
always. We're an ethical whenever we have to raise our base pay, we always incrementally raise everyone else all the way up because it's only fair.
Still
And
the way
that's
it works.
goes
But
back to leading with your heart, because it's not fair to bring someone in at $17 an hour to do the dishes when someone who's a very good employee to the company,
Yeah.
a very valuable asset, is only making $1.50 more. So now everybody gets a raise.
Yeah, but that's not how it's working in the country.
Correct. I'm just saying
Yeah,
that's how we
That's
lead.
how we've done
and
it in our business.
and
It's how you have to do it in a small business.
correct.
Because everyone talks in a small business. But in a country, when minimum wage goes up by 30% and middle class wages don't go up, because all the government cares about is, we need to raise minimum wage. There needs to be a minimum standard of living. And you impose this false, like, who determined that $15 an hour in New York State or $18 an hour or whatever it is in New York City is the minimum livable wage? Who determines that? It's an entry level
Not
job.
anybody who actually lives a middle class
Most of the
or
people
minimum
that
wage
decide
lifestyle.
these things don't have any real
Oh, they have no
world
clue.
experience
No clue.
in how it actually
Yeah.
works. It's
So
all theory.
They raise these wages and they hurt the middle class, because nobody says, well, now you have to mandatorily increase the middle class's wages. And we haven't faced that yet. And we're going to face that time we're running into that time now. That's why consumer credit debt is going up. That's why we're seeing the stock market going down, because the middle class has a healthy investment in the stock market, not lower class. So now you're seeing the middle class pull back so they can afford groceries through the inflation
Groceries are
caused
insane.
by increasing minimum wage, caused by injecting fake money and printing money and putting trillions of dollars into the economy. All this inflation has done is hurt the middle class. And now the middle class is saying, well, I can't afford to put away in my 401k anymore. I can't afford to make luxury and investments into my retirement anymore. And now this is when you're going to start seeing the effects of it. And the Democrats were hoping that that would happen. I truly believe that they know that they're losing this election. And they were just like, if we could just prop up the economy enough, long enough, so that when Trump wins,
tank it, baby.
tanks.
Tank it.
He gets blamed for it, and then we win every election from then here on out.
Because that'll be the worst economy America's ever had, but they sleep on him. If there's anybody who can fix all of this, it's an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
And not a
what's-
single one of those people are entrepreneurs. They have no idea how to
Well,
manage
with the VP
money.
pick, it almost seems like that theory is probably correct.
Yeah.
Like they are almost intentionally throwing it away.
Yes.
Do we call it
Absolutely.
right now as the trio? Do we call it
can
right now?
call it.
They're
Let's
going to
finish it up
tank
with
it.
that.
Yeah.
They're going to tank it.
That's
They're
it.
going to let Trump have it, and they're going to expect him to run the worst
gonna-
economy, because the average American doesn't understand that there's a lag on the economy. It doesn't just happen tomorrow. There's a great lag. What we saw in November of 2023 is now just starting to catch up with us today.
But it's been catching us with us this
No, we got to close, baby. We got to close
No,
this.
we got time.
No, you got to
We got
run
time,
with this. We got
'cause
to close
I
it.
got stuff to say.
We got to come back, folks. I
there
got
hasn't
kids to
been a
raise.
lag. On day one, Joe Biden issued 17 executive orders reversing what Trump did.
Preach.
By the time his first year was over, he had issued I don't quote me on the exact number, but it was over 30 executive orders reversing what Trump did. We are now seeing the results of everything that he did to reverse what Trump did. And
All in
how
one
could you
shebang.
possibly advocate for a Democrat now when it comes to the economy? If you're the person that says, you know what, I don't care what the economy does, I care more about gender studies and whatever, then okay, you're weird, but whatever. That's your position. That's a reason why you would vote Harris. And
It's just they just hate Trump. That's
Yeah.
all there is to it. They
Right.
just hate Trump.
He's
Yep.
mean.
And what Trump has already said that he would do, the Democrats say, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to increase taxes on the people that aren't paying taxes. That's the ultra wealthy. And what did Trump say in 2016 to Hillary Clinton? What did he say in 2020 to Biden? Go ahead and do it then. But you won't.
Because those are the people
those
that
are the
give
people
you
that
the
give
money.
you the
That's
money.
that $100 million
Exactly.
you just got
Exactly.
for your campaign.
Exactly.
Those are the folks that aren't paying taxes.
Exactly.
That's one of my
You
favorite
won't tax
skits.
them.
Exactly. And they won't do it.
Nope, they can't.
And they can't. And we'll be forced with 4 more years of the same thing. But what did Trump say to do? I want to eliminate tax on tips.
On Social Security.
I want to eliminate taxes on Social Security.
There should never have been tax on Social Security.
He even went out there and said, I want to eliminate taxes and payroll taxes. Do you know what
That'd
that
be
would do
huge.
to business if he was
Explode
to
it.
say,
What's our payroll
for
tax
the
a week?
first, 150 years of this country, we didn't even pay
No
income tax? Because it was all collected through tariffs. And he says, I am going to increase the tariffs on other countries. I'm going to make the United States a net exporter of energy, the biggest.
And we have the resources.
Yeah, we have the
if you
resources.
understand geopolitics, you'll understand we have the resources.
400 billion barrels of oil in this
Billions
country.
and billions.
Billions and
I feel like I'm
billions
your backup girl right now. Billions and
Of
billions.
oil here, untapped.
Tap it, baby.
The
Drill,
largest
baby.
untapped oil
I
in
know.
the entire world.
And you know what? If any of you want to know that, read the book. The End of the World is just the beginning. And it's written by a Democrat. So read that book and you'll learn all about what you just said. That is absolutely fact.
So we can take our economy back. We can make us a net exporter of goods, a net exporter of energy, and tariff anyone who wants our goods, because all China's doing right now is stealing our technology and undercutting us on labor. And this administration is letting them. But if we take all that back and we tariff them for what they need to import from us, we tariff other countries for what they need to import on us, we don't need to pay taxes. How do you think Dubai and the United Arab Emirates and all these other countries are sending their citizens checks for nothing?
Yep. Oil.
Because they're selling their oil to us and they're saying, here's your check for what we sold to the United States.
I did a YouTube on this.
Yeah.
Drill, baby, drill.
Baby, drill. Take that away from them. We become, and you know what else it does? It promotes peace across the country because we become the most powerful country again.
That's how
You
we
don't
did
wanna
it
fuck with us.
after
Yep.
World War II.
And we peace keep. We don't just react to what other countries are doing when we allow them to get enough money to attack another country. We control how much money they get because we are the number 1 superpower in the country, or in the world. To
We're
me,
not
it's
the
such,
greatest country in the world. We're
Yeah.
nothing to be proud of.
For those
I
people,
hate that.
why don't they ever move?
Go.
Why don't those
Please.
people ever move? Why
Please.
don't those Hollywood actors, those paid, Soros-paid people,
Fake news.
ever leave? I am going to move if Trump gets. Not a single one of them have ever moved. But you raise taxes on the ultra wealthy, you watch how fast they move.
Puerto
They
Rico
be
will
outta
become
here.
a even more popular
They'll
destination.
move their businesses.
Taking that private
Look what
jet right
Look
outta
what
here.
Elon Musk did. Said, "Oh, California going to tax me? I'm going to move to Texas." And if Texas taxes him, he's like, "All right, I'll move to wherever I am not going to be taxed, so I can do what's best for my business."
Employ people and
Yep.
build this company. Yep.
Yep. And
Oh,
that's
you mean be greedy, right?
Oh, right. That's what everybody
Yes.
says, right? That's what they say about
Yes.
us.
Be greedy.
Yeah, be greedy.
Just because we don't slap all the charities that we donate to all over our social media doesn't mean we're not doing it. I
That
love
is
when people
interesting.
come at me.
I never post about what
No.
our foundation
Never.
does.
And I never want any credibility for it.
I have
just,
a
it's something
higher
that we
power to
do
answer
personally.
to, and it isn't people saying you're greedy. You know, I don't need to tell you how much money I
Exactly.
donate to
Right.
charities. I don't.
No.
It's
I
so
answer to
tacky
someone
when-
totally different.
Yes,
Yep. Exactly.
exactly.
But on that, I know we're running out of time. What are your final parting words?
For me, my final parting words is politics based, and it's that there's supposed to be a left, there's supposed to be a right, and we're supposed to be able to coexist and come to an agreement through using this beautiful system that was created by our forefathers. And I don't want to hear any shit about them being racist or whatever. We built the perfect government, a constitutional republic that would allow our representatives to represent what we want as a people. And that I don't hate the left. I don't hate Democrats. I don't hate liberals. I don't necessarily understand them all the time, but they have the right to feel the way that they do. And the difference between Republicans and liberals is that they don't feel that I should have the right to feel the way that I do. They don't feel that I should have the right to be proud of the candidate that we're bringing,
And our
of
country.
Donald Trump, for our Republican Party. Mm-hmm. They are the ones that are casting out the names, saying that we're racist and whatever. And I don't care that you want to support Kamala Harris and her campaign. You have that right. And so do I have the right. I also have the right to believe that we have a fair election system. And if that election gets challenged every time, good. I don't care, Republican or Democrat. If Kamala Harris loses this election and she challenges it,
She has the right
good.
to.
She should have the right, and we should know and have faith in our election system. But it's the Democrats that are saying that you shouldn't have the right to challenge every election. No, challenge all of them. They should all be investigated. They should all be proven that they're good. Don't dictate your beliefs on us. It's a two-party system for a reason. It's not broken, as Gen Z would say. The system's broken. Well, it's been working great for well over 200 years, going on 250 years. Let's trust that what's worked for 250 years works, and that Gen Z just has to get with the times. That's my message, is that we are one country, and the country comes first. Mm-hmm. And that we are all citizens of this country, and as long as we are okay to be free, to freedom of speech, everything that's in the Constitution.
We are one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Wrap it up,
I
baby.
love it. All right,
Jeez, Ottawa,
folks.
you didn't let me do my closing statement.
Do you want to do your
you're
closing? I thought
sending
that
me.
was your
Mine
closing.
is much shorter and sweeter. No, I
Edit
don't let
that.
my husband speak for me. I'm not a feminist. However, I do have my own thoughts. I will say that I've done a lot of amazing things in my life. I've traveled. I've gone to college. I've done the whole thing. And I've been an entrepreneur, and I've made millions of dollars. And what I want to tell American women is that the greatest thing that I've ever done with my life is had children. And that is like something that I want to drive into your brains. If you learn anything from Lindsey Cruz, it is consider having a family, find a good husband, be a wife. Don't follow the feminist movement. It's a setup. I'm not buying into it. Have children. We need children in this country, especially children that come from conservative women, because so many of my conservative girlfriends will say, I just can't bring a child into this world. It's so screwed up. That's why we need you. And I'm here to tell you, have those babies and have fun doing it. Right?
Love it. Well, thank you both for coming. It's been a real honor. And folks, thank you all for joining us for this episode of the Money School podcast. Vote Be true to yourself. Have a good day. See you next time.